Okay, Wave, we have started Home Together. Home Together today is inside because it's raining here in Los Angeles. So hello everybody, today's Tuesday, right? Happy Tuesday, it's Holy Tuesday. It's almost Passover, almost Holy Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I know it's probably not a happy Tuesday for a lot of people. It's just, for many people, another day, another staying at home day. I like to begin these home togethers reminding you that those of you who are staying home are doing an act of public service. I think it's really important to see it that way. I know that really helps me to see that staying at home is an act of public service, that I'm doing my part, a small part maybe, but it is a part in helping. When I walk, even with another person, a child, a loved one, I social distance, I'm doing my part. So we're all doing our parts by staying at home and practicing social distancing. So I think that's a good thing to remember as these days kind of blend into one another. Patrick, I was just explaining, Patrick, that we're home together inside today. Normally we do these outside.
Yes, there's a little rain outside today, a little drizzle, so we're back indoors.
We're experimenting with different places.
Hopefully this place is good. Let's see.
So
the service looks like it's okay.
The service looks like it's okay.
Uh-huh.
So, hi, as Patrick always says, who's new? And who's been with us every day. We've been doing these every day and really having fun, and we hope bringing some joy and inspiration to you out there.
We have to reintroduce ourselves every day because there's so many new people always. I am Patrick Schwarzenegger. I'm Maria's son.
And I'm Maria Shriver. I'm Patrick's mom.
And like my mom said, we've been doing this every single day since we've been quarantined, which has been a few weeks now.
I've been here every day, Story Media.
I've
been here every day. I'm new from Bakersfield. Jay loves her babies. Okay.
So we've been doing this every single day, interviewing different
Jay
people.
Barfoot, been with you most days, excuse me.
Yeah. We've been interviewing different people that have been kind of utilizing their platform to go out and make a difference during this time. We know that it's a very tough time and rough time for a lot of people right now, whether you're, out there on the front lines in the hospitals working, or you're a business owner and or if you're a parent that has their kids back home or anything. So we know it's a weird time and difficult time, and that's why we've tried to use our platform and this Instagram Live to highlight certain people that are going above and beyond during these moments and finding ways to help other people. And if you haven't seen some of our other videos, we have them now on YouTube or on Instagram. You can see we've had really amazing guests. And today we have Glennon Doyle.
Right. Glennon has been a friend of mine for a couple of years. She's such an inspirational woman, an incredible writer, the #1 book on the New York Times bestseller list, has an incredible nonprofit where she and others are doing extraordinary work on the front lines of humanity, as I say. And so I'm really looking forward to talk to her. She's been doing these daily check-ins on her Instagram platform. She disbanded her book tour because it kind of happened right when all of this was happening. But nonetheless, her book has been #1, steady right there on the New York Times bestseller list. And so I'm really excited to talk to her. And as Patrick said, the other people that we've been speaking to have been so inspirational. We call them the helpers, the healers, the cultivators of hope. They're all stepping up to help people they don't know and to help all of us, really. And I always like to say, as I said before you came in, Patrick, all of us, by staying at home, are helping our neighbors and our fellow citizens. So you're also the helpers, the healers, and the cultivators of hope. And that's really important for all of you to remember. We're asking people, to come on here that we think might bring you some joy, might inspire you, and might make you feel a little bit better during your day. This goes at 2 o'clock, always West Coast time, 5 o'clock. As you said, people at home with small children maybe need a little break. Definitely need a break.
Oh, I think Glennon just...
Is Glennon there?
I think so. Oop, I just missed it.
So let's see Glennon.
Yep.
There's Glennon.
Glennon, we are adding you into the mix.
We're adding Glennon. There's Glennon's going to pop up in a minute.
3, 2,
I'm here.
Hi.
I can't stop smiling. I've been watching you two. You're so precious. Hi, Patrick.
Hi, how are you? Pleasure to meet you through Instagram Live.
You too. I'm just sitting watching you two, and I have a son he's going to be a senior next year, and I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, I hope that he wants to hang out with me like Patrick wants to hang out with Maria one day.
Well, you can show him this and say, there you go, maybe you'll do that. So Patrick is always like, you have to introduce me, but there she said a
Yes,
lady.
I know. Great. Thank you for introducing yourself. I was going to do that, but
course.
so often I don't know the other person, and we've been just meeting through these Instagram Lives or FaceTime. So, pleasure to meet you, and thank you for coming on.
I told Patrick that I really, a little bit about you and why I admire you, why I love you. And I just want to say, before we came on today, just to give you a little indication of who Glennon is, she sent me a note that said, before we come on, I just want to say that I'm thinking of you regarding what's happened in your family. And I didn't want to just come on and not let you know that I was thinking of you. So I just thought that that was super indicative of who you are and why I love you. And last time we spoke, Glennon, you were in a very different place and space.
Maria, you're one of the first people I talked to about being in love with Abby.
I know you are.
And I don't know if you remember this.
Oh no, I remember.
But I don't know. We just met, and there was just something about the energy that you had, and I was like, I just have to tell you something. So I told you about being in love, and then you said, is this a woman?
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I gotta stop talking. She has magical powers that I just need to step away here. It was so amazing.
Oh, you didn't even mention the person or anything?
No!
Oh, wow.
And she had mentioned, and she was promoting a book about her marriage to her then husband. And we were about to go out into a live conversation. I was like, let's pick this up after the fact.
That was a good way to warm up the conversation you were about to do, I'm sure.
But so Glennon, you have this incredible book out there right now, and you canceled, as I was saying to Patrick, your book tour. But how is this moment for you? You're at home, you're self-quarantined, and you have the #1 book on the New York Times bestseller list. So it's kind of must be a lot of emotion going with you.
It is. I mean, you know, this is just life, right? It's like we planned for this book tour for how long? For a year. This is like the most important book I've built, the most important work I've ever done in writing, in art. And then early on, I mean, this was a few weeks ago when people weren't taking this as seriously and there weren't any cancellations or anything. And I just started hearing about it on the road and getting a little bit worried. And then one night I just realized, oh, like I'm concerned about canceling this because I keep telling myself that this book that I wrote is the most beautiful thing I've ever created in my artistic life. That's what I was telling myself. And then I realized, no, the most beautiful thing I've created in my artistic life is the community of people that I am going to be inviting to these events. Like, it became very clear that, oh, no, we immediately stop and everybody stays home because the people are a million times more important than the book. So, so I think, Maria, I see this so much in you. You ride the tide and you can be hell-bent on promoting your thing, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we just switched to service. Like, that's how I felt, was just like, okay, we will show up with the same amount of energy every day, but we're just going to switch to showing up for each other, serving each other, caring for each other, taking care of each other, because that's what we need to do to get through this time. So that's why you're doing these. I've been doing my stuff. I mean, the loss, I mean, with Together Rising, the nonprofit that I run, our inbox, the stories of the pain that people are going through right now. I mean, people are losing beloved family members without being able to say goodbye.
Yeah.
I mean, losing jobs, losing everything, losing sanity. These people that are stuck with young children at home. God help.
I saw you did a video of that about people who are losing their minds with little children at home. Yeah, and you said let them watch TV
all day, all day.
All
Watch
day.
TV all day,
Yeah.
right? If you need some education, you just turn off the volume and turn on the closed captions. Reading lesson right there. Like just, I honestly, I can start sweating just thinking about what this time would be like with small children. I think that the parents at home with the small children trying to do the jobs, trying to deal with their own grief and fear and pain, and then be with these children, they all should get medals at the end of this. They should go to heaven first, just ahead of all of us.
Well, luckily I'm not too young, so hopefully I'm not driving you crazy.
You're good.
But, you know, you're just talking about how you had to kind of suspend that book tour and everything, and now you're, you know, finding ways to adapt with it. You're talking about what you were doing each and every day. Why don't you tell everybody kind of how you've navigated through this this storm and not having your book tour, and how are you continuing to bring the message of your book and your work out to everybody?
Well, I have a few selves. Okay, so I have a self that is really high. Like when the world goes low, she goes high, right? She's just like the one who's showing up in love and service and doesn't really care about her own thing. And she's just here to serve the people. Okay, that's one self. I'm that self like an hour from when I wake up until like an hour after my coffee wears off. Okay, once my coffee wears off, a different self emerges.
I think
and
everybody has that, right?
Right?
Coffee does a lot of things to us.
When the coffee wears off, the hope and the optimism, that all, it might just be coffee, hope and optimism.
Yeah.
It might just be coffee. And so I have a self that feels bad for myself about the book, that feels sad and why me? So I have that self. And I think that it's really important right now for us to allow ourselves to have that self, right? Because anybody with any kind of conscience, we've all lost things during this time, all of us. You know, we have lost plans. I have friends who are canceling weddings, seniors in high school who are missing all of their end of their senior, the things they've worked so hard for, people finishing their first year in college, people who just started jobs. Like there's great, great suffering, and I see it every day in the Together Rising inbox, but we're all grieving. Right? We are all grieving the loss of what our lives were like before.
Right.
And I think it's important to note that and to name it, because if you watch a lot of the stuff happening right now, it's like we're getting so many messages that we should just hustle more during this time. Like we should just use this time to be our best selves. Like, you know, I don't know, take up 6 hobbies and, you know, learn jujitsu or whatever. And like, teach our kids to learn to write cursive. I don't know, like all of these betterment, like if we can't stop the hustle now, we never will. Like this is a moment, this is a great settling. I think of this like the snow globes, you know, that we keep ourselves all shaken up all the time.
Oh, I love that.
Right? So we don't see the thing in the center, right? The thing in the center is the truth of being a human being, which is what has always been true, which is what is arising now, which is that we are incredibly vulnerable and we are never in control. And all we have at the end of the day is our health and the people we love.
Right.
Right? And so I think right now, it's just the snow is settling. I mean, there's all this pain happening outside, and in the midst of it, we're all stuck in our homes.
Right.
We don't have any of the distractions that we usually have with all the busyness that we use to keep the snow, so we don't have to see the truth, right? Mm-hmm. It reminds me of early recovery, actually, of getting sober.
Yeah.
Right? Early recovery is like a settling of all the snow, and you're stuck with yourself. And I think that I truly believe, with no Pollyanna bull, I don't know if we cuss on this, with no Pollyanna bull crap. Okay. I do believe there's great opportunity in this moment.
What do you think it is? What's the opportunity?
Okay, so because I know the opportunity of when you let the snow settle, and when you look at the truth of things, right? When you actually let yourself grieve and feel pain, okay? It's transformational. We're not used to that. We're taught, we're trained by a culture who believes in happiness, all the time, happiness, be happy, right? One of my first AA meetings, I said, hi, I'm Glennon, I'm an alcoholic. I've been sober for 5 days or whatever. And I just want to say that I feel like shit. Like I feel awful. I feel horrible. And I'm afraid that this is how I'm always going to feel. And I'm afraid that there's some kind of secret to life that everyone else has that I don't have, that makes life easier for everyone else than it does for me. And that's all. And then I sat back down, and this woman came up to me after the meeting, and she sat down next to me, and she said, I just want to tell you something that someone told me early in sobriety. And that is this. It's not hard for you right now because you're doing life wrong. It's hard for you right now because you're finally doing life right. Because you're finally allowing yourself to feel all the feelings, even the hard ones. And the truth is that all feelings are for feeling, right? And that often life is hardest for people who are doing it right, who are letting the snow settle and facing the truth and sitting in it. And the secret is that there is no secret. That's the secret, that life is just really hard. And the only thing that's worse than feeling it all is missing it all.
Wow.
And I'm just telling you guys that before she said that, I didn't know that. I didn't know that all feelings were for feeling. I thought that happiness was for feeling, and that anger and doubt and fear and jealousy and all of those feelings were for numbing and deflecting, right? And what I learned when I started practicing feeling all the feelings, even when that makes me a little less pleasant and a little less efficient and a little less a lot of things, is that the pain of being human is transformational. It's how we evolve, right?
That's such an important message, particularly for this age, because those of us who have come to learn it usually many years down the road. We don't learn it in our 20s, right? We don't when we're running around like the snow globe, right? That kind of transformation or learning that usually comes after some real heartache and comes after you're kind of at the bottom. But the opportunity that this generation has to learn some of these things at this moment in time should not be wasted.
Right. I was actually going to talk furthermore on that, how you kind of suggested, people that I guess are my age, go through and focus on that or learn from this time. You had a post the other day that talked a lot about self-care, and you weren't talking about, making sure you had self-care of, waking up and going to work out, or make sure your nails were painted or your hair was cut or you looked all glamored up. It was more about self-care in a different way. And it sounds like that's kind of parallel with what you're talking about right now, and taking care of yourself and learning through this time. So what's a way that people can learn if they're not sure if they are going through that quote unquote hardship that you went through, or, using this time not to create 10, 20 hobbies, but to just focus on themselves?
Well, I think it's the hardest thing for people to do. It's the simplest thing for people to do, but the hardest, right? Which is just being still. Like, we do not like to be beings. We like to be doings, right? Because we all want to avoid the terror of ourselves, of being with ourselves, right? But, I think that one thing we could do is we could just hugely lower our expectations of ourselves during this time, right? I think that the more that we can just allow, I feel like a lot of what's going on right now, what I'm trying to say, is inner work, right? It's happening on the inside, okay? So like, if you need to Marie Kondo your house, that's great, but also like, let yourself feel all of this. Let the other people in your family feel all of this. I mean, everybody in my family is reacting very differently. One of my kids, we're calling her Quarren Mean, because she's just being so freaking mean right now. And that's her bulletproof vest. We all have like bulletproof vests that we throw over pain, right? Yeah. I have a kid, his is humor and deflection. I have one kid who's just doesn't even have one. She's just like an open gaping wound of sensitivity. And another one who gets chippy. But I think we can let ourselves be we can let others be. I know that when I really do feel like we're in a moment of like forced sobriety. Like we've all been thrown into detox at once. We have like a collective settling. The snow is settling, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that one of the hardest things is just to truly have faith that there is inner work going on right now. That's why you're so tired. Are you guys freaking tired? I'm so tired and I do nothing.
We both have been saying how much we've been sleep. Actually, both of us didn't sleep much last night, but we've been sleeping so much recently.
I know. I'm so embarrassed when I look at my wife and say, "Are you so tired again? Like, have we even moved from this couch?" No.
But I think what you're saying, Glennon, I love the kind of forced sobriety. I love the analogy of the snow globe coming down. I love the stillness. And I think also for this generation, and I think for parents who are dealing with kids, the idea of stillness is really challenging, right? For everybody, whether you have.
Not if you turn on the TV.
Yeah.
Leave the TV on all day. They'll be still as hell. You just leave them on the couch.
Yes, they'll just veg out on there. But I think it's as you said, it's a great opportunity to feel this moment and to come out of this moment knowing that you came out differently and that that's okay. And that in fact is great, actually. How do you feel like you're coming out differently? Because as I said, you're having this experience on the inside, but also on the outside, you're having this huge success.
Mm-hmm. Well, luckily I can't see any of it. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I don't, when you're on a book tour, you can see some of it and it's cool. And you're like, yay. I mean, I'm very thrilled that Untamed is, I'm actually amazed that, I mean, it's a book about doing hard things, right? It's a book about the pain of being human and how to use pain in our life to evolve. And I think it's kind of amazing that it came out right at this moment, that people are reading it in their homes during this time. So while it's a bummer that so much of it was canceled, I also feel like maybe it was meant to be, because it's such a freaking honor to me that people are being comforted by that they're allowing my voice to come into their homes and read to them during this time. So I'm grateful for that. And, you know, I always think of pain and grief as like a cocoon, right? It's like this dark place where we get disassembled and just shattered and liquefied and bleh. And, you know, if you're wondering if it's happening to you, you know, you can know if it's happening to you, if you're feeling scared and afraid and frustrated and all the things you're feeling, and there's nothing to do with any of it. That's it. That's it. That's the pain that's working in you. And I think that what will happen, what I know happens over and over again in my life, that it's the beauty of being an addict, truly, is that we're forced into, we hit rock bottom and we're forced into recovery. A lot of people have to wait a long time for this kind of wisdom, but addicts get it pretty early. And what I know is that we will emerge new from this. I can tell you that I have never, ever felt more tenderness for the whole world. I've never felt more in love with strangers. I have never cared so much about people who are hurting, about people who are losing their family. I've never cared so much. I've never been so tender. Sometimes I think the harder things get, the softer we get, you know?
Yeah.
So I already feel it. Like all of that tenderness and connectedness, we're going to take that with us. Right?
I feel that too, actually. I feel like
do?
Just even going on a walk around our neighborhood, I said this the other day, of like, it used to be you would walk by someone and it would just be like a head nod or keep walking. And now everyone is reaching out saying, hey, how are you? Stopping in the middle of the road, obviously social distancing, but saying, you know, reaching out and saying hi and how's your day and everything. And I think that one of the things that is going to come in a positive thing from this whole time at home and the coronavirus is like, you know, people putting a little bit of their differences aside and coming together and finding ways to realize that we're all humans in the end of the day, like you're mentioning.
right?
Glennon, you mentioned at the very beginning, Together Rising, your nonprofit. You've raised millions and millions of dollars. I think last count, $25 million for people on the front lines of humanity. I call that front line of humanity work. And right now, you said you were seeing in your inbox incredible stories. I know you're focused right now on kind of getting PPE. Are you also focused still on getting food or resources to people living paycheck to paycheck? Tell me what you're hearing and how people can help.
Well, I mean, two things. What we're hearing is, I mean, we've existed to do to connect, people in their homes, warriors in their homes who are willing to be brokenhearted by suffering, to warriors on the ground. So we are doing the PPE, we're doing all of those like big forward-facing projects, but Together Rising has always existed to be first responders to families in crisis in their homes. Right. So at this moment, we feel really lucky because we feel like we kind of built the ark before the flood, right? Because now is the flood and the needs are so many. And so, I mean, what are we hearing? We're hearing so many people for the first time can't put food on their table. So many people for the first time can't keep their lights on. So many people can't, I mean, it's what we've always seen times 1,000. Right? Because of job loss, can't pay their rent, losing. So what I would say is two things. First of all, one of the beautiful things that I love about Together Rising is that my dream for it is that we would be a community that was not made up of givers and receivers, but that we would just be a group of people who at different times, different seasons in our lives are givers and receivers, right? Because I am a woman who would not have made it without so much help, right? As an addict, without so much help from strangers. And so what we're seeing right now is a lot of people who have been givers in the past are now being brave enough to come forward as receivers. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing to me. So right now, in terms of that sort of first response activism where we're reading people's stories and getting them the help they need, we're focused on immediate, we're not doing like projects for people right now. We're keeping the lights on, we're paying for food, we're getting diapers, we are paying rents for people who have lost their job or been furloughed. So what I would say, first of all, is if Maria and Patrick, if you have people who are watching, who are suffering in those ways that I just mentioned, write to Together Rising. We are like freaking loaves and fishes. I don't know how we keep having enough, but we do. And we have a badass all women volunteer staff, and we will take care of business. So if you need help, don't suffer, contact Together Rising. And if you have extra, we have an amazing situation where we have some angel people who pay all of our administration costs. And so every penny that is given to Together Rising that we receive from donors goes directly to families in need. That's amazing.
I was just going to ask quickly on that subject where you're saying if someone has extra. I think a lot of people right now we've gotten a lot of comments saying that they don't feel like they're in a financial situation to always give. Is there other ways that people can get behind your mission, help, spread the word, do anything else? Because right now, obviously, you can't really go and volunteer much. So is there anything people can do to spread your message and your mission?
Yeah, I mean, join us on Instagram. I live on Instagram. You can join me on Twitter, but I suck at Twitter. I don't really understand it. But Instagram is my jam. We're there every day. Sometimes I think the best thing we can do is just keep each other company right now. Right? I mean, some of the best work I'm seeing with people is just hearing each other, seeing each other. We're going to have to evolve different ways to help people grieve right now. Yeah. Because grieving looks different. People aren't able to have funerals. People are not able to go to their hurting families. We are going to have to evolve that model because we cannot let people grieve by themselves. That's just not how human beings are meant to do this. And I know we can do it. We can change. We always have. But
I have to say, we did that in our family this week. We did a Zoom, I don't know what we called it, a wake, Zoom prayer meeting, gathering. But it was good, but it's not like the real thing. It really isn't. It doesn't, because you can't touch, you can't connect, you can't console. So I agree with you. I think we do need to find a new model, but I'm not sure that Zoom gather thing is the right model.
Well, it's something for right now, I
It's
guess.
something
You know,
for
it's
right
better
now,
than
yeah.
nothing. And, you know, having to FaceTime someone individually each time, it allowed everyone to kind of come together at once and feel like everyone was there for a moment. But yes, not in the same way as if people are there.
But I think what Glennon, you do every day is you kind of intimately check in. You
Yeah.
intimately kind of one-on-one. It's like you wake up and check in.
Yeah, I love that because I used to do that, you guys, when I started writing. I used to wake up
Yeah.
every morning before the kids, years and years, when I started writing.
Yeah.
And I used to just make myself write until like 6 a.m. and then I'd just push publish on my blog, which helped me save myself from perfectionism. Like my rule was I'm pushing publish no matter what this looks like. So then it wasn't this obsession with making it perfect. So when I started doing these morning meetings, I didn't want to wake up Abby because I wake up so early and she sleeps in. So I was like, well, I can't like brush my hair. Oh, well, I guess I'll just start it without brushing my hair. So then, I mean, I'm looking rough in the morning, but then I thought maybe this is a public service. Maybe just to show people remind people of what human beings actually look like, right? When they don't like straighten their hair and do all these things. So yeah, I'm just trying to show up every morning and give us like a touch point, you know, I'm calling it a family meeting, you know, just to like give us some hope and a jumping off point for the day. And a lot of people who are at the family meetings are reading Untamed right now. So it's so wild because I'm doing these things and they're writing back to me stories they're reading from Untamed. And it's weird. It's just this weird, beautiful, I feel close. I feel closer to them than this whole tour got canceled and I feel closer to my community than I ever have before.
Finally, I just want to reiterate, I said to Patrick, the name of Glennon's book is called Untamed. And he's like, what's an untamed woman?
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, so an untamed woman would be a woman who has abandoned everyone else's expectations of her so she can stop abandoning herself, right? It's a woman who has stopped pleasing and started living her one wild and precious life, right? It's just basically a woman who has stopped being a good girl and is decidedly being a free woman for the first time. And
doesn't it sound like, I mean, can it be untamed apply to everyone? I mean, doesn't it, you know, so much of today with social media and everything, I feel like so many people are trying to be someone they're not or try to be what other people want them to be. So it sounds like untamed can be for anyone at that point.
It is. And I think we all get tamed in so many different ways. I mean, we are all born with this wild individual self, right? And usually most of us have a couple good years of childhood freedom living as ourselves. And then we all get tamed. Right. We all, the second we're introduced to our social groups, to our churches, to our religions, to our schools, to our families, that's just all the social programming that comes in. Right. So I would say there's plenty in Untamed about men, but I would say any man who is untaming from our cultural definitions of malehood, like that men must be invulnerable and only express anger and all of those things. Any man who is not living that way is untaming, right? And any woman who is trying to unlearn all the ideas about being that a good woman is a woman who is pleasing and accommodating and sexy and pretty and quiet and small and all of that horse shit. Any woman who is letting go of all of that is a woman who is untaming. So you are right. Every single one of us gets tamed. Every single one of us, because we are all socially programmed. Right, and if any of us want to live as our true selves during this one wild and precious life we have to undo those layers and find ourselves again.
Well, beautifully said. And for everyone that's on here and watching, Untamed is the book. You can get it on Amazon or wherever online. And you can...
there it is.
Look at this. Look at this cover. Is this the prettiest thing you've ever seen?
It looks untamed.
This is my insides. It's actually an x-ray of my insides.
That's one of yourselves. That's one of yourselves.
Yeah.
Free coffee.
And I want to just mention that Together Rising, most of the contributions on there are $25, $10, $25. They've raised millions of dollars and they make a world of difference. Together Rising, Untamed. give our love to Abby.
Someone just mentioned if you can to order it from your local bookstore.
Indies.
That is a better idea than Amazon. So kudos to whoever said that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Call them or email them or however you can get in contact with them. And thank you so much for taking the time. For everyone that's watching again, I'm Patrick Schwarzenegger. This is my amazing mother.
What's my name? Maria
Maria
Shriver.
Shriver.
And this is our friend, Glennon Doyle, the amazing #1 best-selling author and good Untamed girl.
I love you guys. Maria, I'm going to call you later about how to raise good boys
later.
like this. Okay.
Okay. Love you.
Patrick, it was so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you.
Stay safe, both of you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All righty, another one.
That was great. That was a really good point that you made about anybody being untamed. I loved that.
I thought you were talking about the bookstores. That was someone else's idea. So whoever said that, I couldn't see the name, but
that was good. Whoever.
Okay, it's another day in the books. Today is is today Wednesday?
No, today's Tuesday. Yes, ordered from my local bookstore in Acton, Missouri.
Nice.
Yeah, so thank you. And thank you all so much for joining. I thought she was terrific. I think this is I love the snow globe.
My hair is untamed.
Analogy. Your hair is untamed. Kathy by the beach, thank you. Suzanne Hollingsberg, thank you. Nicole Landy, thank you so much. Will you post this talk? Yes, we will post this talk to YouTube. I don't know how.
Yes, I'm working on getting the YouTube up and
Patrick,
running.
are you single? No, he's not.
No, I'm not.
No, he's not.
But I'm working on the YouTube. We're gonna have all these conversations up there and saved. And what we're gonna try to do is take little 45-second sound bites from these interviews and put them on the Instagram with the URLs to the YouTube, so you guys can continue to watch them or share it with your friends, family, etc. And so we thank you guys so much for coming on again and talking with us. We always ask that if you have recommendations for people that you want us to speak with or want to hear from or ask questions, feel free to comment that and feel free to message us.
Who do we have tomorrow? We have Chef Andreas, who's going to talk about World Central Kitchen and all the people they are feeding across this country, and Gavin Newsom, governor of California.
Are we doing a double whammy tomorrow?
We're having a double whammy because of scheduling, because both those guys are like super duper busy. So we're working around their super duper, because we're just here, so we can work around their super dupers.
Yes.
So we're looking at some of the Andy Cohen. There's an idea, maybe Beth Stearns. She does a lot on animals.
Bernstein.
Marianne Williamson. Yes, Brene Brown. Keep it up, please. Great bookings. Thank you so much. Yes, the great thing is so many people, all of these people who have done this have done it because they want to talk to you guys.
Yes, and talk to you guys and bring forward some
yes, Chef Andreas is at 11 a.m. tomorrow. We're really working around his schedule. So we're doing that at 11 a.m. West Coast time.
11 a.m.
Yes, we have to be up and ready and pretty, and our hair has to be fixed. Richard Rohr, I love that you mentioned Richard Rohr. Oprah, yes, Oprah. I'm talking. Tom Ford says Wanda McDaniel. I don't know if I can get Tom Ford. And
maybe I can. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. You know Tom Ford. Yeah, that's true.
He gave me a job once back in the day.
That's right.
When I was shaved.
He never has given me a job. Too old for him. But I really like his stuff. But so we're going to talk to Chef Andreas. We're going to talk to Gavin Newsom. We're going to talk about loneliness on Friday with the former Surgeon General. Saturday on Rookie and the Vet, you're going to talk to
this Saturday. So every Saturday we've been doing kind of Small Business Saturday, where I label it Rookie and the Vet. We're the rookies, and we talk to a veteran in the field of business. We've done, a few weeks ago we did Tom Bilyeu. 2 weeks ago we did Ed Milet. Last week we did Marcus Lemonis from CNBC and The Profit. And then this Saturday coming up, we will be doing Lori Grenier, who is, Shark Tank, is a host of Shark Tank, is the queen of QVC and has tons and tons of businesses under her belt. So we're excited to talk with her and specifically talk small business owner right there. So we'll be doing this I believe at 10:30 a.m. West Coast on Saturday morning. And we'll be talking about small businesses, small business loans, what some of her companies are doing to shift during this time and adapt and reinvent and everything like that. So, we're really excited to talk with her and to talk with a female, business entrepreneur and get that perspective as well. So again, thank you for all the suggestions you guys have made, and We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Twice.
So many good ideas.
So many good ideas. All right.
Thank
well, I'm
you.
Patrick Schwarzenegger. That's my
And
mom.
I'm
Rish
Ray Schreiber.
Schreiber. Over and
See you tomorrow.
see ya.